Assalamu alaikum, bonjour, konnichiwa, hola, shalom. Welcome to episode 4, is it? I forgot, it's been that long. Episode 4, 5, I don't know which one it is. I've procrastinated for so long and I haven't posted. Life happened. I made an episode and it failed massively and it put us off. So I've been away. So I'm sorry. But I'm back. And thank you for still being here. So in this episode, I'd like to show some love to anybody that watches my channel episode, anything, whatever you like. And I know I have dug around in a couple of controversial subjects. My last video didn't get many views and I don't mind, that's okay. It's meant to reach who it's meant to reach and take what you need from my videos. But today, because I've been away, I've really been contemplating and deciding if I'm going to do this episode about what I'm going to cover today. And I procrastinated the procrastination, and you know what it is? I think I owe it to my channel and I owe it to myself and my viewers and my family and my future generations to let my story out. So I'm actually don't need to research this in this episode because it's about myself and about how I was a baby and how I got kidnapped for 10 days and returned. I was only 22 months old. So I'm going to put my detective hat on. I don't know if this is a detective hat, but we'll pretend it is. And I'm going to get my magnifying glass out because I have got some clues and hopefully we can get into this. So obviously I was a baby. At the time I don't remember anything. I want to take the hat off. I don't really remember much, but I do have a book here and it's full of all the old archives, newspaper cuttings, things like that. Various questions I've asked myself. I think I've wrote a little bit of I was trying to do some detective work on it basically and wrote a few things down, and although I don't remember what happened, it still has affected us in my older days, especially after having children, like after having my own kids. I was like, what the hell, like having a baby snatched away from me for 10 days, how I would feel. And obviously about myself, like I do remember having traumas and terrors afterwards. If my parents would say they were going out, I would automatically freeze up. I would hate it. I would make nursery rhymes about bingo and stuff. I'll get into more details and we'll uncover the mystery of my disappearance and how I was so fortunate to be brought back. In the media recently there's a lot of stuff going on about kids being kidnapped and stuff, and obviously we know about Madeleine McCann, she went missing. There's loads of other kids, Sarah Payne. I think I'm going to dedicate this episode to all the kids that went missing and didn't get brought back. I'd like to be a voice for the children, yeah. This is my take, this is what happened. I'll read the articles out, I'll show you some pictures, I'll tell you the story, and I'll tell you how I have like Stockholm syndrome. I will explain that a little bit about that to you. And it's really unique, my story. So we'll get into it from what I know. So we're going back to when I was 22 months old. So we're talking 1979 here, because I was born in 77. So summertime, I think it was around the June time. My parents, my dad was Bangladeshi, my mum's white. My dad was slightly older than my mum, well a lot older than my mum at the time. And they've moved up to Wallsend, and we are living in a place called Laurel Street in Wallsend. I've never been back to that place before, but I would like to visit it. and basically settled in there with me. And they went out one night to go bingo, and I think across the road there was two younger girls that used to live there. Sorry about my dog, I'm gonna have to. Good. So let's get back into the story and how I went missing. Shall I read an article or shall I tell the story? I don't know which one to do because the articles are basically the story. But to start off, what happened, I was 22 months old, living with my parents, and they wanted to go out for a night out. They've left me across the road with two teenage girls. They were 17 at the time. They were neighbours who my parents knew, and they've left us there before. And while I was at their house, some girl who had just recently moved in down the street had popped in and started playing with me, like started bonding with us a little bit. And she asked the two girls if she could take me to the chip shop, and she just never returned. So I was missing for like 10 days, and we'll get into further stories here. So we'll read an article without further ado. So this book is really old, like I think it's got some of my dad's beard on it, it's that old. There's a letter there of a lady who had mass sympathy, so I think I've opened the book the wrong way around, it's that old. Dun, 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 dun. And there's a letter from like a TV channel called Northern Life. I think it was like some sort of thank you for taking part in Northern Life. So my mum and dad must have went on telly for some appeal or something. So we'll start with this. Find our baby. I'll read this little page out, okay? Because it's better coming from the page rather than me now. My glasses are broken, they're a little bit jacked up with, so let me see. So bear with me. A massive police hunt was launched yesterday after a teenage runaway disappeared with 22-month-old baby. 17-year-old Rosalind Kerr vanished with a little Joanne Ulla after calling at the house in High Street, Wallsend, Northumbria, where two of her pals were babysitting. She asked if she could take Joanne, the daughter of Bangladesh businessman, out for a walk. And Rosalind Kerr of Clacton of Essex, search was called off when she phoned a Northumbria police to say she was living with a man. So I think she went missing with me and there was searches, and I think she rang Northumbria police and said, oh, I'm living with a man. So I'm going to use this magnifier because the glasses were a little bit cloudy, sorry. So I'm going to read this other article that says, find our baby. So it says, a teenage girl thought to have abducted a 2-year-old baby in Wallsend last night was seen hitching a lift with a child. And today, police name the teenager they are seeking is 17-year-old Rosalind Kerr, whose home address is in Clacton-on-Sea in Essex, but was living in a care home in South Shields. She was last seen with the baby at 10 o'clock last night when she was given a lift at the Dixielanders roundabout on the A1 and was put down in the Follingsby interchange. She told the driver she was intending to head for London. Police describe Rosalind as being 5 foot 6 inches with black shoulder length hair and of medium build. She has scars on her left wrist and on the centre of her forehead. She is believed to be dressed in a jacket and flowered skirt. Police forces throughout the country have been alerted. Today the baby's distraught parents, Mohammed and Rita Ullah, appealed for their child's return. They left Joanne at the home of 2 teenage babysitters around 7:30 last night. Sorry, I'm not looking up. To go out for an evening. And when they returned at about 10:30, the 2 flatmates told them that Joanne was missing. So Christine Sehman, Sehman, and Sheila's story, both 16 had looked after Joanne about once every 6 weeks for the past few months. But last night they were visited by a girl they knew as Rosie, who moved into the next door flat in High Street, East Wallsend, 2 days ago. The baby was crying and she seemed to calm her down, said Sheila. She was going to put her to bed and decided to take her for a walk. She seemed so good with the baby that we thought it would be all right for her to take her for a walk. We never dreamt she would never return. Mrs. Ulla, aged 19, said her home in Laurel Street, Wallsend. We have been up all night praying for this girl to bring our baby back. We understand she had no money and the baby hadn't had her nappy changed and didn't have a bottle. We only went out for a game of bingo in a couple of hours. The baby has always been safe with the girls before. We want to beg the girl not to panic and just to bring the baby back. Mr. Ulla, a shipyard worker, said Joanne doesn't get on easily with lots of other people and she's bound to cry. So that was mainly the gist of it. So I think she started like hitchhiking. Like she took us from the house and she'd moved into the address the day before from being in care. And she was heading down to London with me, hitchhiking. I had no nappy change, no bottle, just off with this young girl. Right, so fair enough. So, do you want to have a look at this girl? I don't know if the pictures, but she does have a little bit of a, I would say, you know, Ghislaine Maxwell look. So this was the woman who took me. This was Rosalind, 17-year-old. Baby snatch mystery. I don't know if you want to get into that, but you can. Police hunt girl on the run. So forgive me, I'm getting back into my Inspector Gadgetness here. So here we go. A nationwide hunt for a runaway teenager and missing baby was launched yesterday. Rosalind Kerr, 17, vanished with 22-month-old baby Joanne Ulla from a house in Wallsend, Northumbria. Police said last night she might make her way to her mother's home in Bristol or her father at Clacton-on-Sea. So I might have visited them places. I've been on a little mission, haven't I? Me little abduction mission. Were we abducting who didn't bloody want us? Right, anyway. Baby Joanne disappeared from the High Street home. Bangladeshi businessman and English-born wife. Runaway Rosalind was reported missing by her father Bill Kerr 2 months ago. But the hunt was called off when Rosalind phoned Northumbria police and said, I'm alive and well and living with a man. I'm happy and I'm hoping to get married to him. Mr. Kerr, 49, said last night, I just don't know what to think, but I'm desperately worried. I don't know why she would take someone else's baby. I'm appealing for her to stop running. So that was her dad. Oh, bless him, man. Even he cared. Oh, so these are two of that. There's like some online, but you have to pay to read them. And I think, well, if I've got these, I don't really need to. Well, one day I might want to look online and read the rest. I might pay the little subscription fee. Anyway, so we've got letters, clue to baby snatch. 2 letters in police hands could hold the key to reuniting missing Tyneside baby Joanne Ulla with her parents. The letters posted in London was sent by the runaway teenager. Ooh, this is interesting. She sent 2 letters. Let's get into this. Honestly, I would read without the magnifier, but it's really, my eyesight is now eye-shite. You get to a certain point in life and it just goes to the bin, so I call it eye-shite, but enough about that. Let's get back into this. So the letters posted in London were sent by the runaway teenager who police believe has taken 2-year-old Joanne, and on the evidence of the notes sent by 17-year-old Rosalind Kerr to her separated parents, police are concentrating their search on London's immigrant communities. So, oh my God, that is on the immigrant communities. Last night, Detective Chief Inspector Rob Hodgson said, we think this girl is still now hiding somewhere in the capital, probably with an immigrant family unaware of the circumstances. Baby Joanne has been missing from her parents' Wallsend home for more than 72 hours after being taken from babysitters. Her mother, Rita, age 19, at her Laurel Street home last night said, "We've not eaten nor slept since she disappeared. All we have done is wait." Her husband Mohammed, a 37-year-old shipyard worker, had shelved plans for a one-man hunt in London. "Because I am breaking up, I need him with me. With worry," said Miss Willa. So my dad was going to do a one-man hunt, but my mum needed with him because my mum didn't have anybody, you see. She only had my dad really up in Wallsend. We didn't really have any family up here. So baby hunt stepped up. Scotland Yard detectives stepped up their search for teenager Rosalind Kerr and baby Joanne in London's immigrant areas. Community liaison officers were visiting Indian and Bangladeshi quarters, particularly in Leighton East London, to look for 17-year-old Rosalind, who ran off with a 2-year-old toddler 3 days ago. The girl whose home is in Clacton-on-Sea, Essex, was last seen with a child hitching a lift at Leicester Forest Station on the M1 at 8 a.m. on Monday, I believe that is. I can't see because it's ripped. In Wallsend, police have set up a special telephone line at their incident room. Although dozens of people have called with information, police believe the girl is in London. Right, so 2 letters postmarked London were received yesterday by the girl's parents, Bill and Mary Kerr, who live separately in Clacton and Bristol. Scotland Yard said, "Obviously it's a difficult job to find 2 people in a city the size of London, but it's been done before and we can only try." So yeah, and so I was still missing at this point, and I really need to do something with these bits of paper. And there's some I get that into when I start reading the stuff on the back, and there's proper interesting stuff going on then, you know what I mean? Back in the 70s stuff was dead cheap. Right, and sorry for going off on a tangent, and we've got Joanne, baby Joanne is safe. But then I've got a lot more paperwork here. So this says, "I want my Rosalind back." So this must be off the mother. I've got "The miracle has happened." We can cover that. I've also got "Dad plans a solo hunt." I want to do big solo hunts. And "Baby grabbed by girl in search of revenge." Do you think we should read this? Because this looks like it has some answers. I'll never have answers, do you know what I mean? Unless I find this woman and she tells us what went on. But we'll have a look at this long thing here, right? So, and then I'm going to show you some graphic stuff. But I don't want to bore you too much, but we will do another episode if this gets too long. I think I might read this and I'll show you some pictures, and I'll take a break and we'll get on to the next part. But I do want to cover it all because somebody might be watching this and they might know my kidnapper, they might know this lady. And someone might have come across me and seen us out with a lady, or the truck drivers, you never know. But even if not, I'm just sharing my story about what happened. And yeah, so we're talking about "The baby grabbed by girl in search of revenge. Child missing for 9 days, dumped in London minicab office." So I think this has gone a little bit too far into the story because it's getting to where I was 4 lost days. So we'll go to this one which says 4 lost days before I get to this. This one might have a lot of the... See, I don't really read this, you know, I'm only doing this for my channel, but do you know what it is? It'll probably heal us a little bit to watch this back. Yeah, so there's multiple reasons for sharing and airing your story. I don't know, I'm not doing it looking for sympathy or anything, because I mean, I can't even remember what happened. Do you know what I mean? So, and the lady brought us back, so I'm still, it's not like she murdered us or anything. So, anyway, we'll go on to, I'll show you a couple of pictures I've got of us when I was younger. I don't know what my camera can. That's a little picture of me there. Cheeky picture of me. But yeah, I'm gonna read some more of this stuff out. Let's get back onto it. I don't mean dilly dally and showing you all that stuff. What was I going to read? There was something about 4 days. Did I read it? I don't know where I am. Sorry, guys. Do you know what it is? I think I'm just going to read. Right, so when I was missing, I'll try and censor this. I mustn't have had any pictures for the paper. So my parents had another stitch, alright. I've got the original here, look. My parents mustn't have had a picture to give the newspaper, and this was the only one. So when people say to me, oh, have shame, this, that, why should I have been on the newspaper naked at 2 years old, man? I'm not going to be taking my life very seriously at this point, am I? Like, I did see this when I was like a kid, and I just thought, oh, might happen. I didn't really think much of it, but as growing up as an adult, it has really affected us, this sort of stuff. I'm like, what the hell? A picture of my parents, they were very much in love. Even though my dad was a bit older than my mum, he wasn't the one love. But yeah, so we're going to read another one of these things that I said we were going to read. So, letter clue in Hunt for Baby. I think we kind of seen this. The hunt for a missing teenage girl and baby took a bizarre new twist last night. Runaway Rosalind Kerr, 17, written to her father and said, I am married now. But I think we kind of covered all this stuff, so we'll just go into the big Joanne girl held. A 17-year-old girl last night was helping police with inquiries in connection with the abduction of Tyneside 2-year-old Joanne Ulla. Joanne was safely returned to her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Ulla of Laurel Street, Wallsend, after being snatched for 10 days. Mr. and Mrs. Ulla were reunited with their child in London, where they said the girl is being questioned. So yeah, lost baby quiz, and so we'll go on. Sorry about my dog, it's just because I'm talking and she wants to be around me, but if I let her in here, she will just run amok. She will not behave. And I've fed her, and I've took her for 2 walks today. She only just goes for 1. Callie, behave. That's what she was talking. She thinks I've got like a friend in. Callie, behave. I'm doing my channel. She's had mints and everything I've cooked for her. I've actually treated her nice, and she's. When you treat the dogs extra nice and the extra, they need extra, you give them an inch and they want a mile, basically that. So anyway, let's get into this miracle of my 10 days being missing and getting brought back. And as I say, lots of kids in the media, Madeline McCann, Sarah Payne, there's just loads of kids that have been, like that James Bulger, he was abducted and kidnapped and not brought back, so it's just like I do feel a little bit protected, guarded by spiritual angels. I really do, because if a 17-year-old girl took a baby and it's mass media news coverage and the police are looking for you with a baby, what's stopping you from just dumping the baby? I'm not saying she had to murder us, but what was just stopping her from like putting us in a river? Or what was stopping her from like just dumping us somewhere? Well, she did dump us, but not like, you know, like she could have dumped us in a forest. She could have done anything, but she decided to. What made her change her ways to bring us back? I don't know, like, not bring us back, but you know what I mean. She did the best she could. Like, let's get into it anyway. So, baby grabbed by girl in search of revenge. So, snatch brought heartbreak to wrong people, court told. So this must have been at the court at this point. So revenge-seeking Rosalind Kerr brought heartbreak to the wrong people when she stole a baby girl. For when she ran off with a 22-month-old, she thought the child belonged to a girl she wanted to hurt, the court was told yesterday. It was only after 9 days and 9 nights of worry and distress that little Joanne Ulla was reunited with her mother hundreds of miles away from home. Yesterday in Newcastle Crown Court, Kerr, 17, unemployed of Stanhope Road, South Shields, admitted an offence of abduction and was sentenced to a period of postal training. I think that's it, postal training. Training. So Mr. John Mitford, prosecuting, told Kerr had not taken Joanne because of any frustration or desire to have a child of her own, but because she wanted to hurt another girl in whose care the baby was in at the time. Kerr believed that the other girl had made wounding remarks about her promiscuity. He said Joanne, the daughter of Rita Gregg and Mohammed Ullah of Laurel Street, Wallsend, one night they went to play bingo and left Joanne in the care of Sheila Story and Christine Sermon, both 16, at a flat in High Street, West Wallsend, where they live. Kerr, an absconder from a local authority home, was also at the flat when Mr. Ullah brought Joanne there. Joanne would not settle and Kerr offered to take her for a walk, but she never returned. Mr. Milford said that the pair were seen in a pub in South Shields later that night. We took to the pub for a drink and that. Hey. And then Kerr then began hitching lifts to London. That night she stayed at the Leaning Bar Hotel thanks to a lorry driver who gave up the room he had booked. What? A lorry driver gave up his room. All I can say is, lorry driver, if you're ever watching this and you know who you are and you're out there, just thank you. Do you know what I mean? Thank you so much. And so anyway, getting this room. Sounds like a GTA episode. And so he booked the room. The next day she continued to hitchhike to London, telling people who picked her up that the child was hers and that her husband had battered her. Mr. Milford added that 6 days after leaving the North East, Kerr went to a minicab office in London and left the child with some groceries and a driver saying she would be back in half an hour. So she left us with some groceries. Oh, now this is what I mean about the Stockholm syndrome. Like you think you attack her, like she cared about us enough to get us groceries, enough not to kill us. Do you know what I mean? And when everything, like what I said before, if media and everything's after you and police and that, it wouldn't have took her 2 minutes to dump us in a bin or anything, you know. You just leave us there on a train track or out. But like I say, right, so oops. I'm going to drop that because it was so long. I didn't know newspapers were that long. Right, where am I on this big long script here? Oh my god. Take a pirate map. So the next day, hitchhiking, telling people she was battered, minicab, left us with shopping. But then she never returned, and then after Joanne had spent the night sleeping in the minicab office, the police were called. The court heard that although Joanne was found in a grubby state, had nappy rash and a bruise on her left cheek. She was well nourished. Oh, well, I was fed. But I had the same nappy on, I think. Kerr was later found by police in the East End of London. She told police that she thought Joanne belonged to Christine Sermon and she wanted to get back at her because she and Sheila Story had been saying that she had been selling her body. Right. So Detective Sergeant George Armstrong said Kerr had been persistent absconder from her local authority home in recent years and she had been in care since the age of 3. Mr. Morris Kerr, defendant, said Kerr was bordering on the educational subnormal. She was bordering on the educationally subnormal. Judge Oliver Wrightson told Kerr that she acted in a heartless and callous way. But she had what? Educational subnormal. I just passed that on to me because I've got it now. But anyway, what an article, man. That's got basically, I thought that would have a couple of answers in. This one was off the mom. Now, we'll read this off the mom and then I'll close this episode off. It's went on for a long time, this, hasn't it? I hope you're enjoying it and I hope you're still engaged. And your magnifier's coming really handy. My smile, my beady eye on my case here. So yeah, basically I've been around on a couple of missions with this woman who looks like bloody Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Well, she took us for 10 days. I can say what I want. Do you know what I mean? We're all one thing. If I'm saying something, I'm just having a joke. She did take us. If you're out there, Rosalind, I do love you. I don't hold any grudges. But yeah, let's get back into this. So, the mother of teenage girls serving a postal sentence for, she must have got a sentence then, yeah, for abducting the baby wants her daughter back home when she is released. Rosalind Kerr, 17, was put in care 14 years ago, but her mother, who is now leading a new life after her second marriage, has kept in touch at holiday times. But before leaving Tyneside for her home in Bristol, she told the heartbreak of years of separation from her daughter and hearing the news of her crime, which she put her in the brink of suicide. Oh, so the mum was nearly going to commit suicide. Miss Josephine Tanner's Rosalind, 48-year-old mother, discharged herself from hospital against doctor's orders to enable to attend the trial at last week's Newcastle Crown Court. Wow, so the mum literally sent herself out of hospital. Miss Tanner said, police found her in possession of tablets and threatening to jump off a bridge in Bristol after hearing that Rosalind had abducted little Joanna from Wallsend. Oh my God. She said, I haven't had a nervous trouble before, but when the police told me, I went into pieces. I didn't know what I was doing. I just spent 5 weeks in hospital and now the worst is over now. Rosalind was put into care when she was 3. That care order is over now after the postal sentence. Showing, I want everyone to know there is a good home waiting for her with me and my husband Wallace when she comes out of Bristol postal. Mrs. Tanner, a nursing home domestic help, who stayed with her sister in Jarrow, spoke of what happened when she had heard her daughter had abducted 22-month-old Joanne. She says, I had a letter from Rosalind posted in North Yorkshire saying she had got married, but I knew in my heart it was not true. Judge Oliver Wrightson, who said care of Stanhope Road in South Shields had been heartless and callous, and had she not took the baby and hitchhiked to London, heard that she had took the, sorry, this is like very small. And like I said, my eyesight's very old. Yeah, so basically, the judge was saying how she took us and she was heartless and callous and hitchhiked to London. Joanne was found abandoned in a black cab office days later. The court heard she took her to get revenge on the girl who was babysitting Joanne. And yeah, I can't really see the bottom because it's very, 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 very dark. It's like a bloody pirate map. So, well, it was like 40, we're talking like, if I'm 40, going to be 49 in September, so we're talking like 47 years ago. So I'm like their parent, that girl's parents' age I am now, you know. And there's something here about the trial. I'll have a look at this tiny little piece of paper. Rosalind Kerr made her fifth appearance in North Shields Magistrate Court, charged with unlawfully taking Joanne Ola, aged 22 months, out of possessions and against the will of her mother. The case was committed to Newcastle Crown Court and Kerr was remanded in custody. So she must have got some time, yeah, for taking me, but I just want to share the picture of me and my mum when I got brought back. Cute little picture. And I've still got the same bloody panda black eyes now. But how cute, man. She brought us back, bless her. I hope you could see that picture. Don't allow me. And yeah. Reunited, so dun 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 dun. I don't know how the Netflix thing goes, but yeah. I hope you enjoyed my episode. I don't know if I'm going to edit it, I might just fly it straight up, I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed the episode and I'd like to share some love to anyone out there watching, anyone that's watched and enjoyed the show about my deep dark secrets. And how about the miracle baby? Miracle baby. And growing up, getting older, my dad used to say when I was being naughty, he'd say, why the hell did she bring you back? And things like, I'm sure I brought the wrong kid back. It was funny, Dad. But yeah, thanks for watching. And like I say, I want to dedicate this episode to the children that have gone missing, children that are still going missing, any children that have gone through any sort of trauma, or anyone that's went through it as a child. This episode goes out to you, peace and love, we do heal. Like I say, I've got a lot of unanswered questions, but like I say, the questions really answered themselves at the end. Like, I did get kidnapped and I could think it was by aliens for all I care, because I don't remember nothing, but like I say, the lady must have had a heart somewhere, and she didn't abuse me or anything like that. She looked after me, she dropped me off with food and things like that. So basically, whoever took me wasn't a bad person, and I'm lucky that way. And as I say, I do still have like a few, it doesn't overwhelm me, but I still do have a couple of dark days and unanswered questions of thinking of what happened to us and where was I took. Like, my mind does venture out of the box, but I always return back. I always ground myself. I'm a very spiritual person, and yeah, thank you for watching my episode. Thank you for hanging around and giving us another chance. I hope you like my hair. I plaited it myself one night, some sort of some sort of spirit overtook my body, and I just started plaiting, and then by the time I finished, I ended up like this, and I like it. And it was off watching a couple of reels on Facebook. It just goes to show you can teach yourself anything. And my dog, I'm going to go and say to her again. She's heard us chatting. She thinks I've got friends, which I have, you guys. And yeah, thanks for watching my version of Netflix. Bonsoir, bonsoir, now just say au revoir, sayonara, sayonara, and salam alaikum, and goodbye.